Hello guys, and welcome to the first video in the channel. In this video I'm going to talk about a few things that would help you get started as a beginner cyclist and get you well on your way into your journey. So without further ado, top tip number one, don't be afraid to ask for help. So ask your local bike shops. They're getting far and few between these days, as probably many of you are aware, with such a massive influx from internet sales. So, you know, they are there to help. So don't be afraid. Go and badger them. Go and speak to them. Whether it be about bikes, gear, setup, equipment. You know, just go and have a little chat with them if you do have your local bike shop. Probably one of the top safety tips: a decent helmet. Don't be tight. Don't go and buy like a £10-20 helmet. You know. A good starting point, 50 quid, 50 quid for a decent helmet will get you well on your way. They do a thing called MIPS now, so it's like a spherical sort of head protection system inside the helmet. My helmet here, I've had for a good few years now. So this is my Laser Blade helmet. Absolutely cracking helmet, super comfortable, super lightweight. Plenty of vents there for cooling. Just a really good helmet. I'm pretty sure, back to the first section, when my bike shop was still running, unfortunately it has closed. So that is not there anymore, but I bought it from them. So, perfect, great start out helmet, plenty of adjustment, and it's actually got really cool. That is your adjustment for the back inside the helmet here, so a great little setup there, and I'm pretty sure that cost me 50 quid. I think that's what that cost me. So you don't have to pay the earth for it, and this is the non-MIPS version. So have a look online. You will find a lot of helmets offering MIPS these days. It's personal preference whether you want it or not. That is your choice. If you want to Google it and think if it will benefit you, then crack on. Don't be afraid. Go for it. So that's helmets. A decent pair of cycling shorts. So when I first started out, I went with the non-bib type, so no straps, just a pair of looks like you're under gym running shorts, the stretchy type. So I went with that. Had a pad in it, so decent comfort for a saddle. But I did indeed then eventually upgrade to a pair of DHB bib shorts. So I would also like to say that I'm not sponsored by any of these brands that I am talking about or showing you here today, but DHB. These are the classic version. So again, I think they were like £50, £50 if you can get them on offer. Absolutely cracking pair of shorts, decent pad in them. And when I say pad, or some people refer to it as chamois, this is what they're talking about. So this is the padded liner inside that gives you your protection for your bum and your undercarriage, basically. So massively important, and that will really make your life in the saddle a hell of a lot more enjoyable. So decent pair of bibs, and again, like with the helmet, you don't have to pay the earth for it. Wiggle, chain reaction, that's a lot of the both of the shops that I use to buy online. They're great. Get them on offer, even better. So that's bib shorts. Top wise, if you're thinking, I've spent enough on the helmet, I've spent enough on the shorts, I don't want to bang a t-shirt on, that's not the end of the world. I was fortunate enough to have a birthday very close to me starting out cycling, so I had money, and my brother got me this rather fetching Morvello cycling jersey. So that was one of my first, and is to this day probably one of my favourites and most comfortable. So I use that quite a lot. But again, just have a look. There are lots of options and lots of choices out there. Best thing, again, go and ask your bike shop. Go and see what they can offer. Try it on and see if you get on with it. Another good clothing brand that probably people often overlook is your Aldi Special Buys. So they do the middle section of the shop, and I have had no problem with this. This is one of my first ever jackets, and it is their version, well, their brand. It's called Crane. So there it is, Crane, and this was just like a winterproof jacket that I wore quite a bit, and to be fair, I still do. I have upgraded now, but that's far the path. So that was one of my jackets that I first used, and that was from Aldi supermarket. So it just goes to show again, you know, some of their stuff actually is really, really good, and like I say, I still use to this day. So don't be afraid to go down the special buy aisle in Aldi and see what they can offer. So that's kind of clothing. I will briefly touch on shoes. So cycling shoes, and as you can see at the bottom, very well worn, do need to change them, but you know, clipless and cleated pedals and shoes. So you know, if you're unsure, don't worry, don't go down that road. Just put some flat pedals on and just use your trainers. Get used to the bike, get used to you being on a bike, and getting in some you know, short or long, medium rides, whatever. Don't rush into these would be my advice on that. They do help. There are massive pros and there are of course cons. You'll probably see many a video of people putting up at traffic lights and completely stacking it because they can't unclip, or a lot of the time they've got the pedal tension too tight, so you know, like race tight, so you can't clip out. So you know, see how you go. They're not vital. You know, you could build and go on to that at a later stage. So don't panic. Another thing, you know, if you are getting into it and you're going to be doing, you know, a fair bit of distance for you, decent bottle cages and bottles. I had probably a really cheap, nasty cage and bottle, and I remember going over a bit of a bump and it just ejected itself from the bottle cage. The bottle went, never found it again. That was in the bush somewhere. So, you know, decent cages and bottles, and they'll serve you well. Right guys, last thing I want to sort of mention on the clothing side is dress right for the occasion. By that I mean, you know, just because it's a, you know, a summer day, don't just wear a vest out. You know, a lot of Under Armour-y sort of stuff, base layers, they do specific summer ones. So look into them because they do work. I often just wear like it's like a mesh vest and then my bib, my jersey over the top. They do work and they do sort of keep you cool as well. You don't sort of sweat too much. And also the opposite end of that scale, don't put too many layers on just because you look out the window and think, bloody hell, it's chucking it down, it looks freezing out there. You know, common sense, you know, you will often, the term is a boil in the bag. So you don't want to go out absolutely dressed up to the nines, gloves, you know, layers of gloves, because you won't enjoy the ride. It will be so uncomfortable and so hot, you'll be stripping off layers more than you'll be putting miles in. So, you know, just my advice would be dress, step outside and think, oh, there's a little bit of chill, I feel a little bit cold, but think you are doing a workout, you are moving. So go with that in mind and think, probably when I'm going along, I will be warm enough. So go with that, and that will serve you absolutely fine as well. Moving off clothing now, lights, absolute must in my opinion. Rear light. This is a Moon Nebula, and I can't recommend another light any better than this. It is such a good light. It's got so many functions and it's bright. The favourite function I have, if you do want to look this up, is it almost looks like, you know, when you see the back of the Formula 1 car and it just pulses. This has almost got like a side light round it and then a pulse every sort of 4 seconds. And I just think it's absolutely brilliant. You know, you think, oh, if you were commuting, possibly, you're going to see that. You're going to see that in fog. You know, you will see the dim light and then the pulse. So massively, massively visible. Again, not massively expensive. Sometimes they're on offer on different websites, but Moon Nebula rear light, massively, massively recommend. Front light, back in the day I did start with a front light pretty much all the time. Not so much these days. Every now and then I will put one on, but I'm not overly fussed. The real one, in my opinion, is massively the most important one. Back to your old Aldi supermarket special buy. This was down the middle aisle. I can't even remember how much it was. I don't think it was expensive, but to be fair, I do use it when I commute. And it's absolutely banging. It's brilliant. It's so many modes. You've got the pulse, you've got a steady light, and it's bright enough for a be seen light, not to use at night for you to see, but for pedestrians and car road users, for them to see you. So yeah, recommend, you know, a good front light for that. Moving on, saddlebag. They're not for everyone, but you'd be silly to leave home without it. You know, the worst thing you want to do is, you know, you've got all your gear, you've got your equipment, got your bike, and you as a rider have improved and get 30 miles down the road, you know, or halfway from home, and think, fantastic, you know, puncture or blowout or worse, whatever, a mechanical fail, and you've got absolutely diddly squat to repair or sort of puncture out. So my answer to that was a little saddlebag. This is a Topeak mini, or I think it's a small saddlebag. Literally just hangs underneath the saddle, around the seat post, and then these little clips go underneath the little bars of or the rails of your saddle and clip in there, so nice and secure. And to be fair, it's small enough, it tucks up under the way. It's not too obtrusive. I've done a few sporties with this on as well, and absolutely perfect. So contents of my saddlebag, I have tyre levers. So cyclist best friend. Be careful, look into it. Not all wheels can be used on. You get your really posh expensive carbon wheels, just be careful, you may damage your wheels. So just look into it. But if you're starting up, you're probably going to be on a bike with your very bog standard generic alley wheels, so be fine. But you want them to get your tyres off once you've deflated your tube. Mini tool. Again, this is a Topeak one, but it's just what I found at the time and seems to work, and it has actually got me out of a few sticky situations. So mini tool, I'm not going to go massively too in depth on that. You know, you can look into the websites and look into that, but there is a multitude there of Allen keys, Torx, fixtures, as well as flat blade and bits and bobs like that. It has actually got a little tyre lever in there, but I prefer the plastic ones just to, you know, not cause too much damage. And there is a chain pin breaking tool in there as well, so I think that was like 20 quid. So, you know, well worth being in your saddlebag. It doesn't weigh that much, so bung it in there. Obviously on the subject of punctures, a spare tube. Usually I have two. Obviously used one and forgotten to replace it, so it's on the list to buy. So spare tube, possibly two. You can, it is a bit of a squeeze, but you can get two in here. So that's the other thing. Rubber gloves. You might think I'm a bit weird, but I'm a mechanic for a living, so I do have quite a lot of spare nitrile rubber gloves. Worst thing you want to do is, you know, be riding and then touch a chain and get covered in greasy, oily chain lube, especially if it's a wet ride. So bung them on, use them, do what you've got to do, take them off inside out, in your jersey or back in here. Nice clean hands, not getting all over the bar, not all over the bar tape, so you're clean and ready to go and carry on. So that's another little thing. And the last, two last things is these little patch tools. So Super Patch, these are self-adhesive. You get a little square of sandpaper, once you find the hole in your tube, rough it up, bang one of them on, job's a good one. Back on, and then inflate with your pump. Little bit of chain lube there. This is a muck off one, but I think I got a freebie from that and it's small enough, so I thought that's good. That can shove in there nicely. So that's the contents of my saddlebag. Right guys, last couple of things that I wanted to go over. Food and drink, some people can't eat on the bike. If you're doing a big ride or you've entered a sportive, you do want to be eating, or at least doing the stops and putting some nutrients and some food back in you. So something that I use, SIS is Hydro Tabs. I do often use them as well when I'm turbo training as well, because they are quite good. Just seem to give you that little bit of oomph, and they're electrolytes as well. So just in the form, they look a bit like your little round dextrose tablets. So full bottle of them, full bottle, and then bang one of these in, and absolutely good as gold. Another thing massively popular, gels. So again, these this is an SIS one, but they're absolutely fantastic. Many other brands out there, so it's whatever you prefer the taste of. But a lot of people do seem to go to these. It is a gel, but it's just it's easy to consume, put it that way. A lot of other brands or other gels on the market, you find can, especially if you've overexerted yourself, as soon as you take them on, you feel very sick. These go down very nicely and just massively putting back into your body what you've just used up. So great stuff there. Obviously other brands available, but again, it works for me, so I use it. Last little thing is this rather cool little basket thing I've got here. This is just spares and all sorts of bits and bobs, cables for computers, but it keeps it tidy and it tucks out the way, and that's just around the house. So if I ever think, you know, looking for something, heart rate monitors, which we won't go over today, but got a couple in there, cables for bike computers, cables for GoPros, lights, so they're all tucked away in there. There's a couple of mounts in there as well, but the point to that is keep it all together. One little box, carton, Tupperware, whatever. Keep them all together, never any issue. If you're doing a last minute ride or someone rings you, come out for a ride, everything's together, you know where it is, just go and grab it. So no excuses for not going out for a ride. Right guys, so lastly in the video today is my bike. So this is a 2017, I believe, Specialized Alez. So it is a aluminium framed bike with a carbon fiber front fork. You often see in like bike magazines or internet reviews, like your best £500 bike kind of thing. These are usually pretty top of those sort of like tests that they do. And to be fair, it's been absolutely brilliant. So I picked this up secondhand for about £300, pretty local to me, literally 20 minutes down the road. So a little bit under asking of a brand new bike, but you know, the proof is in the pudding here, you guys. You don't need to spend an absolute fortune and thousands of pounds on, you know, someone recommending a carbon fiber framed bike that's going to be super light and super amazing. Yes, it will be super light and super amazing, but if you're starting out and, you know, you think, I want to give cycling a go, but I don't want to spend a fortune, this is the route to do. Or better still, see if you can borrow a bike off someone just to see if you like it. You know, I started out on a 80s retro Peugeot downshift tube bike, purely because I thought, you know, I got it from a friend and they said I could have it. And I thought, you know, let's give it a go. If I really enjoy it, I can upgrade and go from there. And I loved it, so I did upgrade from there, albeit it's a second-hand bike. It's absolutely fine. I've done all sorts of things with this. I've done sportives, all sorts of bits and bobs, and easily kept up with the big boys on their carbon fiber fancy bikes. So, you know, you don't need to go out there and spend a fortune. Spec-wise, so group set-wise, this is Shimano's 8-speed group set, which is called Claris. It is your bog standard. You know, this was the entry level Specialized Alez that of that year, but doesn't mean it's any worse. You know, it's 8-speed. Most commonly now is 11. You know, it does me well. I'm absolutely fine with that. I have got plans for this bike to upgrade to 11 speed, but again, that will be in a different episode. saddlebag on there, as I explained in the video earlier. Sits under there. It's not too bad. It's not the end of the world. And also my little light just clips in on the back there. So absolutely perfect. Right guys, that is the end of the video. Hope you've enjoyed it and you're able to take something away from this. If there is anything that you're still unsure of, feel free to comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Just get out there, give it a go and enjoy. Thanks for watching.